no one will ever look at you the same once you do it. Like, you can never kind of take it back.
Yeah.
The internet is forever.
What about when you want like a family and kids? Are you ever scared that the kids will get the repercussions of your career? What have you learned through doing what you do? What's going on? My name is Rio Fredrika. I am here with Standout TV. About to have a conversation with an adult content creator who is taking social media by storm. Her name is Lily Phillips. I guess what I want to get from this conversation is to understand more around why she does what she does, what's her meaning behind it, what message is she giving people, and find out who Lily Phillips is when the cameras are off. Let's do it.
Hello.
Lily Phillips. Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, babe. I'm good. I feel like this is going to be a bit of a deep chat, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, go for it.
And I think what I see online so much when you are the topic of conversation is people are getting, I guess, I'm not going to say annoyed, but they're a little bit upset that you're on so many different things and it's giving what you're doing so much airtime. And I kind of understand that in a way, because I guess the messaging that your work kind of puts out.
Yeah.
But then I also feel like conversations like this are really important because the rise of OnlyFans and the rise of girls also doing what you're doing, I think we need to understand what's actually going on.
Right.
So that's what I'm gonna kind of ask about today. I feel like you've told your story so much. So you was at uni, you then did a little bit of OnlyFans, but it was a little bit more reserved than what you're doing now. And then it kind of snowballed into full-blown sex on camera.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't use the word snowball, but just I decided to make a change in the content I was filming.
How old was you when you made a change in that content?
This was maybe like 2 years ago now, so 21.
Yeah. God, so young. Would you say that because like you started OnlyFans so young and you kind of was in the industry that it became more normal in the porn industry? Like, so having sex on camera became more normal to you because you was already in that world?
I think I started to feel more comfortable on camera.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly like it's getting normalized because I still knew porn was a very crazy job.
Yeah.
But for me, I felt so comfortable, and that's why I decided to make the next step.
Before making that next step, what did you think the repercussions were going to be?
I understand that working in porn is going to close a lot of doors for me. Relationships wise, job wise, just personal life wise. But I was very happy to do that because my brain chemistry changed in the fact that I started to think so more open-minded.
Yeah.
And I would never like judge anyone now for filming themselves on camera. I think maybe back then when I was like 18, I maybe would have been like, oh, like, I don't know if I would do that. But now I just realise how freeing it is.
What feels freeing about it?
I think for me, I love to get to like explore my kinks. Obviously, I love the fact that it is a job, like it is doing my favourite thing and also making money from it. And I just love how open-minded the industry is. Everyone you meet in it is always so lovely and just so freeing. I don't know how to explain it, but there's just no judgment in the industry.
Right, I'm with you. But do you feel like you could have explored your kinks by not making it so public?
I mean, I did.
Yeah.
I did a lot of stuff before off camera, and then that's kind of why then I felt comfortable to put it on camera.
But what was that like? What was the intention behind putting it on camera?
I love to be like an exhibitionist. I do love to like show off. I like the attention.
Yeah.
Like that is a part of it. And obviously we're not gonna like ignore the fact that I could like also monetize it, but that's not a big part for me. It was just more like, I wanted to take things to the next step. I felt more comfortable. I was enjoying it. Why not?
So if we broke it down to like look at the main reasons as why you were doing it, as to why you are doing it, sorry, would you say it is is the validation or that kind of like endorphin rush that you get from the reactions like a big part of it, or is it the act itself?
I think it's the act itself.
Yeah.
Like when I finish a gangbang, I'm usually like reeling, like just the energy is high.
So for instance, because I watched the documentary that you did with Josh and you did get quite emotional, and I know that you've spoken about that in other interviews since, of just saying it was just overwhelming because you worked so long. Do you ever get that same feeling of like overwhelm after you film?
Not necessarily. I set a lot more boundaries now.
Yeah.
Like I've done a lot of events since, and I know what I like and I don't like.
Yeah.
Like I definitely prefer like group events where we all go at once, and it's kind of, that is a lot more liberating to me than like one-to-one experiences over and over and over, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say it's definitely quite like, I'm definitely energized after.
You feel good after it?
Yeah.
Because that's also what I wanted to ask, like, even just coming from like my experience and sexual experiences I've had in the past, if I've ever not been connected to someone and then slept with them, that has left me afterwards feeling just a little bit, you know, like a little bit within myself, and I have that kind of guilt and like, oh, I didn't actually want to do that. Do you ever get that off of the back of like not connecting with the people that you're working with, or even knowing them before you have sex with them?
Yeah.
Do you ever get that feeling?
I understand that like a lot of girls feel that type of way. I personally don't. I don't think I've had that. Like I used to sleep around a lot even before I was in porn. Like I've never really had that. Even though I do believe like sex is energy still, but it's just like a different type of energy. Like I get off of kind of like being a bit degraded and having the attention on me, and like it being a group thing and being very like hoary and it being a bit of a show. Like that to me is like the energy I enjoy. Maybe in your stance you enjoy like a connection kind of energy, like a loving energy.
But have you ever looked at like, sorry, I'm a deep thinker and I absolutely think into the meaning of absolutely everything. Have you looked into like where those kind of kinks come from, of like being degraded and stuff, like the emotions behind them, why you feel like you like that?
I've never looked into why. No. But I don't think a kink necessarily like always comes from trauma or childhood things.
Yeah.
I think people love to like say that it does when...
Yeah, and I don't think it necessarily has to, but it's like, I always just feel like it's good to be aware of, like, even just looking into or being curious about where it could come from, because it could be related to something traumatic. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And unless we look into those kind of things, we then never really know.
Yeah.
It's such an anomaly, right? It's a very different career choice to the majority. How do you look after your mental health by being in this industry?
For me, I have such a close friends that I can always talk to. I have friends in the industry that I can talk to that understand my point of view. I'm close to my family, I talk to them about it. So it is really my circle around me.
Have you ever done any types of therapy or anything like that?
I've been to therapy once, but it was just a bit of a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes they try to dig for something and it's not there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And let's talk about the challenges. So I am aware of the one where you slept with 101 men in a day. Have there been any since?
Oh, there's been a ton. I did a 50-man gang. I've done like a 50-man like cream pie gang. I've done a 40-man bukkake, 20-man bukkake. I mean, Wednesday I'm doing another 10-man like bang. I do them quite a lot now.
Where's the limit of where you go from here? Because like, does it keep getting more and more and more extreme? And is the reason that it gets more extreme for like more views or more, I guess, attention? Or is it just, like, explain that to me a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, for me, my events haven't actually really gotten that much more extreme. Like, they're kind of say around the similar point.
I mean, they're pretty extreme. Even if you've started extreme, it's like they're all different kinds of extreme, but you've got to understand that it's like not a normal sexual experience, the things that you're doing, right? And it's the average person definitely would have never have done anything near that level. So even if it's not more extreme in your eyes, they are all very, very extreme to the normal person.
Yeah. It's really not that intense. Like if I brought you to one of my events, you wouldn't think it was like really insane or anything like that. I don't think so. It's like my average Sunday, honestly. It really is.
What's normal is very different, obviously, for a lot of people, you know. So what you normalize, if you're around something and you see something and you partake in something, it becomes more normal to the person experiencing it.
Definitely.
But I guess someone who's never experienced that, it would be super extreme. But I guess what I'm asking is, what is the reason behind these extreme events?
I mean, like I said, I don't think they're extreme, but for For me, obviously, it's good fun. It's good to like meet the fans as well. Like having a connection with them is great. I obviously enjoy it. We get to film it, and like obviously I make money from it and I sell it. Like it's just kind of like the perfect recipe for me. I think anyone in like, you know, whether they do YouTube or anything, feels like a type of way of like, oh yeah, like kind of what am I doing next? It's not necessarily like I need to be bloody by like a dog or something like that, but it's just like what should we do next, like kind of thing. It's not necessarily like I need to do the biggest, bestest thing ever.
Yeah, so it's just like looking for new ways of engaging the audience. Yeah,
and also like obviously you can only film so many 10-man bangs and they still get buys, you know what I mean?
Fine. So, but there is always that look for something else that's a little bit different to what you've done before.
I think it's fun to try new stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think everyone feels that in their line of work.
How do you feel, your audience is pretty young guys, right? Majority? Or no, is it mixed?
I'd say mixed.
Yeah.
Like probably the majority are probably like 20 to 30.
So let's say young people are seeing your content that you're making.
Yeah.
And they're super impressionable and they're not sexually experienced and they're seeing what you're doing and then they think that that's quite normal when it comes to sex. So just referencing some of the things that you've done, like on the documentary with the 101 Men, there was guys that did input all their details and send you their STI checks, but then there were some guys that you'd never met before and they just came in and they had sex with you and then they left.
Yeah.
What message do you think that that's giving young people who aren't sexually experienced?
I mean, to me, it was just a one-on-one experience sexually, where it was a very safe environment. It was all very consensual.
Yeah.
They had to sign paperwork, they had to get their ID out.
Yeah.
Like it was all very strict, you know, under different circumstances. Going home from a bar, you're a bit tipsy, like things are a bit different. This is a very regulated kind of
I get that,
event.
but it's more like what if you, from an outsider, like take yourself outside the situation, right, and you're seeing what's going on and then there's young people that are watching it that are impressionable, what message do you think that gives them about sex?
Are we talking about male or female?
Both. Like just young people who are really impressionable, or just people in general, I guess, that like maybe aren't that sexually active, but they're watching your videos and then that's what they're starting to think is normal around like sexual experiences.
I mean, it's clearly not normal. Like I'm one of the kind of only girls who's doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't think people would take it as like this is normal.
But what if they're young and they don't know? You know, like when you're first ever watching porn and you're trying to understand what sex is and they come across your videos and that's the first thing or one of the first things they see and that to them, they're like, oh, so you can just go and find a girl and then blah, like do this. Do you know what I mean? What message do you think it's giving
Well, maybe
them?
young people need to be better educated on types of porn.
Yeah, but that's really hard to
I don't
navigate.
think that's my job as a porn star to be like, I only need to film this type of porn for this type of people. Like, I very much say, you know, this is kind of like extreme events, I put on these events, like, I very much state that I'm not doing a loving experience with a boyfriend, and there are just different categories of porn that, like, that's just life.
But then it's more like, I feel anyone with a platform in today's world, we all have to kind of take responsibility of like the message that we're putting out because it does have so much impact and you do have such a huge following that, of course, you can post whatever content you want and you don't have to think about the viewer. You don't have to.
Yeah, like.
But in the world that we live in today, where there's so many crazy things going on, that I just believe that anyone with a platform has to take responsibility of like what they're putting out to make sure that it has, because porn has been around since the beginning of time. So of course it will always exist. It's just maybe these extreme kind of content ideas don't need to be at the forefront of it. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it does give a warped message to the person viewing it of what sex is, or what is normal, or what is okay, or what is consensual. Because although I know from watching your documentary, it was all consensual and people are signing things, does that come across in your videos? Because I actually don't know, because I haven't watched.
I would say definitely. I mean, the thing is that I'm not an influencer. I never chose to be an influencer. I'm a porn star, I make porn. I make 18 plus content. That is like why are we not allowed to make content that's for a specific age type, person? Like, I hate now that we have to always be catering to other people. It's just like, I'm a porn star, I make porn. Like, there's, you know, and for me personally, if you ever like went onto a porn set, you would see how consensual it is and how just like clinical it actually is, like all of it. So I don't really get this whole like, you're putting a bad message out and da-da-da-da. Like, I'm a porn star, I make porn.
Yeah, and I wasn't even saying that. It was just more being aware of taking responsibility for what you are putting out and what message that could be giving to people.
But what else can I do? I very much state this is like extreme content.
Yeah.
I do 18 plus content. How else would I be able to do that?
No, of course. I was just curious to see if you, I guess from people who know about the kind of extreme stunts that you do, I guess the feeling is like, is it necessary? Of course, make porn. Porn can be super fun and creative and however you want to do it. But I guess the extremeness that's going on, it just gives people a warped sense of what sex is. And I think that's like just it's the dangerous message that young people could be viewing.
But like, does that mean then I have to stop doing stuff I enjoy and I want to do? Like, I personally just believe in like body autonomy, and that you are allowed to do whatever you want with your body.
And babe, you are, of course. It's just more, does it need to be pushed in the mainstream? That was all I was asking.
Well, I very much state like on social media, you know, I talk about the pros and the cons of what it's like. I talk about the reality of it. I think I am very honest about the work I do. I'm not trying to put out a message of, do this, it's this, you need to be a super slut like me, or like, boys, this is how you treat women, or anything like that. Like, I say, you know, if you want to come to my Unveils, you can treat me like this, like this, like this, but don't do this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm allowed to do that type of content. I'm not pushing it upon anyone else.
Of course. But it's one of those, because you are doing it, I can't remember the saying, but it's like, do as I say, not as I do, because you are already doing it. It could influence people to go, oh, if I want to make like as much money as you, or if I want to start OnlyFans.
This is why I don't state how much I ever make.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's obvious that you live like such a glamorous life, you know, and you're super successful in your field. So it could be the influence of people that do want to start OnlyFans and do want to make money to go, oh, now we have to do what Lily's doing because we want to be like at her level.
Yeah,
do you see what I mean? And I just worry that we're going to get lost in this, how extreme it gets. That's all I'm getting at, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to girls all day who want to start OnlyFans, and I tell them the pros and the cons. Yeah. I'm honest. I also state that I think the average earner on OnlyFans earns something like $100 a month, which is just not even enough to live on. And like, I say this all the time, that, you know, I'm in the top like 0.01% of people who have been successful on the platform. You know, I'm not trying to push anything upon anyone. This is just, I'm just showing what I do and saying what I do.
Shall we go through the pros and cons? I actually would love to do that.
Yeah.
So what are the pros to your job?
So obviously I love the fact that I am freelance, and you know, I get to kind of do fun stuff like this, and I don't have any kind of like person above me. There's no pimp involved or anything like that. Yeah. I am my own boss.
And that's something that OnlyFans has given the creator, right?
The freedom is so good, that we've kind of cut out that middleman. You know, for me personally, I love what I do. I love the sex. I love creating content. I love the art to it. It's super fun. The community is great. Like, the girls and the guys you meet doing it is just the best. And I just think our work's so fun. The cons to it, definitely like the social stigma. The fact that if all else fails, you might not be able to do another job. You know, it closes a lot of doors job-wise.
Right, I'm with you,
I mean, I could go on forever. Like, no one will ever look at you the same once you do it. Like, you can never kind of take it back.
Yeah.
The internet is forever. The abuse online. I mean, I guess that kind of comes up social stigma. And I think as well, just like relationships wise.
Yeah, is that hard to make genuine connections?
It's definitely made like relationships a lot harder and things like that, but I understood that going in.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else.
How do you handle like the backlash online?
For me personally, I try not to read too much into it, and I just realised that these are bloody losers sat behind a profile with no profile picture, and they're telling me how to live my life when I would never take advice from them. So why take criticism from them?
No, 100%. And then, like with the genuine connections, I know because I heard earlier that you're not looking for a relationship right now. But is it hard with the job that you do to make like genuine friendships or meet someone like in a dating sense? How's that?
I mean, I feel like I've got all the friendships I want. I'm quite happy. And relationships wise, I don't really care to meet anyone. Yeah. I think when the time is right and I want to meet someone, I think it would rather be someone who is kind of involved in these kind of like events, or
so they kind of get it,
is
right?
into the lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, this is the thing as well. I meet so many guys that are kind of into stuff like this and seeing their woman do things like that.
Yeah.
Or also people in the industry that would also understand.
When do you think you're going to be ready for that, or you don't know?
No clue.
No clue. You're just going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how about like, who's Lily when the cameras are off and like everything's still and you're at home? Who are you without your job?
Honestly, pretty normal. Cinema, out for drinks, just quite like fun. But I don't really leave the house that much.
Yeah.
I quite like being in solitude on my own with my dog.
And would you ever think about doing anything else? Because you started this quite young. Have you ever had those thoughts of like, oh, maybe I should have done this, or I should have explored that to see if I wanted to do that? Have you ever had those thoughts?
No, I've never like regretted going into this job, but obviously I think about myself like later on in life, and there are stuff that I would want to do, but I think it's actually opened up doors for me, because like I'd want to like my own lingerie brand, or I'd love to do maybe like a presenting job or something like that. I'd love to go on Loose Women. That is the dream, honestly. Like having a bitch for 2 hours, what a dream.
Every day of the week.
Literally, like having a little chit chat, then going home.
Do you feel like because this has now become your identity through and through, like I've had jobs in the past where it's become my whole personality, right? And then that's like who I am and how I show up in this world. Do you feel like that's happened with this job?
I think it was always my personality. I was always that girl in the friendship group talking about sex, like just non-stop about it. I was, even before I had sex, I was so curious about it. Like, I don't know, since I hit puberty, I've just known that I was a little bit different to my friends in that way.
Yeah. What would you do if you wasn't doing this?
You know, well, growing up, I was like, I could be a stripper, but I'm really shit at dancing.
Right.
So maybe not. I mean, for me, I always see myself being in the adult industry, even if it's just like a producer, you know.
For like porn videos.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to have my own porn company one day where I produce like my own movies and be a director.
But it's all kind of in this line of work.
Yeah.
This is something I want to know. As a woman, when women have sex, their whole pH balance can go out of whack very, very easily. How do you look after your sexual health?
Oh my God, I don't really get the whole like pH thing. I don't really tend to get like is it water infections that women get a lot? UTIs, that's it.
Thrush and things like that.
I mean, I've only ever had 2 STIs, but I've never really suffered too much with like thrush or anything like that. But I mean, I guess just like taking care of yourself with like people who you have sex with. I don't really know. I'm just kind of a bit immune down there. I don't know.
And do you, when you say like you're immune down there, do you think the reason that you're able to do this job with as many partners as you filmed with, do you think like you disassociate from what you're doing? So like disassociation, you don't really think too much about it. You just...
I think other women suffer more with like UTIs and things like that, and I don't necessarily do.
But then even from that point of view, being able to film the content that you do, are you fully like present and enjoying it, or sometimes do you have to kind of like switch your mind off to?
No, I'm usually like always present, always enjoying it. There's been moments where I have been, but that's when I haven't enjoyed it. And I've come back and been like, I need to set this boundary because I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. Because in the documentary, I remember as well that you said something about, because the guy said you had 5 minutes with them and some of them were a little bit pushy, like I haven't had the full 5 minutes. How do you handle those situations around like your safety?
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to say no. I'm really very like, especially back then, I didn't really know how to set a boundary. Now, I tend to do group sessions. I mean, I haven't done like singular sessions with people since then. And it's such a different environment because they're all there, like, and you can kind of like bark orders at a group beforehand. You're like, right, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do these positions. And now I've only had cameramen filming it. And so there's always been someone there in the room as well who's kind of,
it's like an added level of safety, isn't it? And also, if you say a boundary and then someone crosses it, you've got other people to then watch.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's kind of taking accountability for each other and being very respectful together.
Have you had an experience that has put your safety in jeopardy?
Not really, no.
Is that something that's known, just like for advice, I guess, of if people were going into something like this? Is it stories that you hear that like some things can be unsafe?
I mean, for me, I've always had security.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, if you're going to do something like that, definitely get security. That's a given.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Before I did that, I was like, oh, I don't care about getting security. I'd done stuff before, but this was when I was with another girl. I did it, and we didn't have security. And like, it wasn't an attack on us or anything like that. But like, phones got stolen, or just bad stuff happened, or the guys kind of like kicked off about something. And that could have ended a lot worse than it did.
Okay, fine. So it is important, I think, to make sure that you're safe in those situations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What's the proudest thing that you've got from this job?
I think the purpose.
And what purpose does it give you? Like, what do you feel like your purpose is?
I know people are going to laugh when I say this, but I think of it as art. I really do. And for me, it's like coming up with a concept and kind of seeing that come to life. Does that make sense? I know people are going to laugh at that, but it really does. I love like the organisation of it. I love like thinking, oh, you know, like I'm going to do a scene like this, and this is how I want it in my head, and then seeing that come to life is just great.
And do you feel like you could get that purpose from anything else in life, or do you feel like right now that this is just the only lane?
This is kind of like the only purpose I feel like I have at the minute.
Do you feel like that will be the same answer going forward? Because I know that you've been very certain in other interviews of like, no, this is me. Do you think that could change? Is there a possibility of that?
I've always said like I'll always stop once I get bored or I don't enjoy it anymore. So like I'd never say never, but right now I really don't see like an end in sight. I mean, like I said earlier, like for me, even if I got bored about doing the performing, I think I'd go to like a directing role.
Yeah, go in a different lane for it. And then is there anything that comes with the job, you know, like, I guess even for me, I'm a presenter, and sometimes I get insecure about the way that I look or the way that I show up or the way that I say things. Are there those kind of negatives that come with the job?
I think definitely. I mean, obviously people talk all the time online about your body. And I think you can let that affect you. And obviously your body and how you look is a huge part of your work. And I think sometimes you do start to think like, oh God, if I had bigger boobs right now, would I be more successful?
Fine.
But I try not to let that take over. Like I just try to think people like me for who I am, like this is my brand, this is how I like to look. You know, you just have to kind of double down on that.
Yeah, fine. And be sure, I guess, sure of yourself in that.
Definitely.
Do you practice anything to make sure that you stay like sure of yourself in your decisions?
No.
No.
I don't know what that practice would be.
Yeah, I guess for me, like if I ever feel insecure, I like will reprogram those thoughts. If I say something negative to myself, you know, let's say for instance, if I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh no, I don't like the way I look today. I go like, no, we're not doing that. We like the way we look. We're showing up how we want to, you know.
100%. I mean, I've never been like an insecure girl. I've always been really body confident. Like, and I've kind of never really felt that. Obviously, some days like you're like, oh, look a bit uglier today, but like I don't really let it eat me up.
And something that's just come to my mind, say for instance when a middle-aged man hits that time of his life and he goes and does like an Ironman
like
challenge,
a midlife
right?
crisis.
And he's like, I need to do an Ironman challenge because I need to do something in excess to find purpose because he feels like he's losing it. With the excessive stunts that you do you feel like you're avoiding something or do you feel like you're distracting yourself from like something that's underneath it?
No, I feel like I'm like fulfilling something.
Okay. It's mad because my mind just doesn't work.
Yeah,
like, I'm
so
so
many
interested
people
to like,
can't-
understand where you're coming from, you know?
Definitely. I understand that so many people can't compute it, but I just think from a young age, that sounds crazy, but from a young age, I've always kind of known that I was going to be in the adult industry and I was going to do well in it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you just like, you have something and you're so sure about it inside and you don't know how you're going to do it or how you're going to start or anything like that, but you just know that that's for you.
Yeah, it's honestly fascinating. And I'm also super aware that like, I think there's double standards in society of like a male that would be in your position wouldn't get half of the kind of scrutiny that you have got. And I'm fully aware of that. But it's good to hear you know that you're sure of what you're doing. Because I think that that's what some people would question, you know, or try and pull apart. What about when you want like a family and kids? Are you ever scared that the kids will get the repercussions of your career?
Before I went into the industry, I didn't want kids.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the industry, I do want kids. So that is definitely, I did think about it before, but I thought, I don't want kids. So
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And now I'm in it. It is, obviously, it's going to be a bridge to cross.
Yeah.
Definitely, I understand that. That's not easy. But I think there's worse things people have done. You know, I don't think as porn as a shameful act or anything like that, so I don't feel ashamed. I mean, obviously my only issue is even if I don't feel ashamed and I keep teaching my kid that, will they still feel ashamed about it? And it's honestly just something you've got to work out. But I know a lot of women who have kids in the industry and, you know, you speak to them about it and it's something you have to work through and it's just life.
Yeah, and I guess you'll only know how you're going to deal with that, I guess, when it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything that you regret at all?
No, maybe not starting porn sooner.
Not starting porn sooner?
As in not starting like the sex of it.
Earlier?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I started, when I did the first boy girl, I was like, why have I not done this bloody sooner? This is great.
And is there anything that you would change about your career so far?
Anything I would change? Some stuff I've said maybe for like rage bait purposes. I don't look back so fondly.
What have you said for rage bait purposes that you're like, why did I say that?
Maybe the pregnancy thing wasn't the best.
What did you say about that?
No, I pretended to be pregnant.
Right, okay. I get it, I get why that would not be the wisest thing to do.
But you just, you live and you learn.
Yeah. What have you learned through doing what you do?
I feel like I've become really resilient in not caring what other people think. Even in terms of when someone sits across me and is like, surely you can't enjoy this, you don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I just kind of learned to be like, you know what, you can think what you think and you can not understand it, but I get it and that's fine. I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with people just like not
getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like what you do could play into objectifying women? Something that like feminists are obviously trying to pull back from and make that not the case. Do you feel like you're playing into that narrative?
I think some people could look at it that way, but for me personally, as a feminist, I think as long as you are doing the sex that empowers you, then somehow I don't think that is pushing a misogynistic view. For me, when I do these sex events, I am the one in control. I'm the one inviting them to the venue. This is how many guys I'm having. These are the positions I'm doing. This is how long we're having sex for.
Yeah.
Like I'm so in control, like in comparison now, that it's not in like a really degrading manner.
Yeah, but because I actually didn't know I actually wrote down the meaning of objectifying women because I was like, I don't really fully understand the description. And objectifying women means treating them as objects primarily based on their physical appearance and sexual value. rather than acknowledging their individuality or personality. And so it's like, even though you're in control, do you still feel like it's pushing the narrative of like women are only valued because of their physical appearance and their sexual value?
No, because I consent to that.
Yeah, but it would still be in the brackets of the objectification. Do you know what I mean?
But I don't understand how something that I'm so in control of and I choose to do can then be objectifying.
Because I guess it's like, because it's all around like the body and...
But as in like can push this like misogynistic view, because...
I guess it's just the meaning underneath it. Do you know what I mean? It's the meaning underneath, I guess.
I guess if you're watching from an outsider point of view and they watch that one film of me getting gangbanged by 10 guys or something, maybe they see it as objectifying, but I don't feel objectified. Does that make sense?
You don't feel that way. Going back to the only, because is it only 1% of OnlyFans models or creators, they're like the high earners, and then the rest of the 99% are not? What would you, is that right?
I think you'd have to be at like maybe like 2% or like, I can't remember how much it is, or like 4 or 5%.
It's quite a low percent in it of people who like go into OnlyFans. What advice would you give someone if they were thinking about it around like actually getting themselves into this industry?
Obviously explain like earlier the pros and the cons, and also just think about it.
Yeah.
Like take 6 months out, don't do it yet, have a think. I also say talk to friends and family about it, have that open discussion, and just think about actually play the tape forward and think about how your life will change in 10 years.
Yeah.
And how it will affect you in that way.
What have been the biggest changes in your life from reaching the success that you have in this industry?
I think just like the freedom.
But have you had to restrict yourself in any other ways, like in going to certain places? Do you get recognised? How
It's
does that feel?
not that like not that
like
deep. No. I mean, obviously, like people say hello, but it's never so intense. I'm not bloody Kate Moss or anyone, you know.
Yeah. And that's it. You haven't had to change in any other way. It's just that it's given you more freedom.
More freedom, obviously more money.
And you know, like when whenever you create something, so you edit the video down and then you put out what you want people to see, it looks, I don't know if glamorous is the right word, but I guess the whole package together. So like you're making tons of money, you're making these videos, you're living a really nice lifestyle. Would you say that's an accurate representation of all of it?
Kinda. I mean, I make the videos. What did you say? Sorry. So you mean
like, is it as, I don't want to use the word glamorous because it's not an accurate word of what I mean, but you know, like you're putting the things out there, so it's like you're making these videos, then you're making all this money from it, and then you're living the high life. Is it really that, or is there some shadows to it? Is there some dark sides to it? Is there some scary stuff to it? Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I'm getting at?
I mean, like I said earlier, like the whole relationships thing is hard. Obviously people get like stalkers and things like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like hard stuff to it. But right now, I mean, I live a pretty good life. I'm not going to sit here and complain and say like, oh, I hate my life or it's shit or anything like that. But yeah, there are downsides, but I do live a pretty good life.
You feel like all of the content that you've made was worth it to create your life?
Definitely.
Yeah. Gosh, it's so hard to understand, isn't it? I guess because I don't fully understand it, but I am trying to understand your point of view completely. I guess my only concern is that I see young girls, I'll talk on young girls' behalf right now, is that trying to navigate this world is nuts, and trying to find your place in it is really hard. And I guess seeing women like you in this industry doing things that I guess wouldn't be the normal way of going about things, you know, or like how we use our bodies and things like that, I think it's so hard for me to understand why you love it so much. Yeah. Because I guess I'm just worried that young girls could see this and it could turn them down a path that could be really detrimental to their mental health, their physical well-being, and all of the above.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're putting out a good message to young girls?
I mean, for me, I think young girls will see online how much hate this gets.
Yeah.
How many people don't agree with it, like the backlash and everything to do with that, because obviously that's what's kind of in the media, and people saying how disgusting these girls and that's vile and they should be ashamed. So somehow I don't think that would push girls to do it.
Yeah. Lily, do you feel like having these conversations to kind of understand your point of view and your reasons for doing what you do are beneficial?
100%.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice to have like a sit down adult conversation about it, and not just like the jokey, silly stuff, because I think it does highlight really important points.
Yeah. But thank you.
No,
thank you so much for chatting to me. I hope that wasn't too deep. I was asking questions like, wow, where are we going with this? But yeah, thank you, my love. Thank you so much.
Thank you.